card.
Hello,
Hey.
how are you?
How we doing, Ben?
My goodness, you're green tonight.
That's true. Get the fish tie out.
Got your green bib on.
With the amount.
I always said ties are just baby bibs.
That's true.
Well, you don't get the discussion, which is what that's all about. It surfaces the questions, you get the answers, you come back again, you know. But, as much as I'm running out of hair,
Oh, were they
it seems
good?
that's, you know, they come
Wasn't this
sliding in
wonderful?
Friday afternoon,
That-
there's a good reason.
That was,
And this one here,
getting nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it came in second.
Yeah, it was
Well, and
incredible.
not-
actually
Watch the
you
special
could do
things
that.
too.
Some of
They
them
talked
we
to
discussed
the-
it. Well,
We talked to the
grandson.
grandson.
Yeah, we can still let
And
it
this,
go,
wasn't this interesting?
you know, forward with the registration, or
About
not.
the child.
It was very interesting, very well written. This was Masterpiece Theater.
Yeah, exactly.
Version. I didn't
Well,
think
it
of
will
it as
be,
two
because
parts
that's the
until it's,
concept
okay,
of the
two parts.
team.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're long, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were apparently BBC.
But they don't have
Special.
episodes exactly.
Boom, boom, yeah.
But I didn't even know about this kid.
The Royal family would not have
One.
advertised.
Yeah.
And as you saw, they
I think her, you know.
attempted to keep it even less advertised.
I thought it was a very interesting.
Um,
He-
I still don't
You
know.
have closure on that other item.
Well, I think we,
The show is,
We're not gonna go into
Well, yeah, but not from the beginning,
that.
or was it? I don't remember. I watched it for a while.
yeah,
One of
from
them
the beginning,
can
because
share with you if you're in tomorrow.
the the nanny
Mm-hmm.
sees him just staring at the wall. He
Yeah.
goes and picks him up and takes him into a side room,
I
so
think
Right.
most of the ink
this
is
is
dry.
about to be drawn out.
Oh,
But his speech being portrayed now, you know.
Like, on this?
okay, we'll stand for the pledge. Ricky, have we got camera on?
just a second.
Oh, after Ricky gets the camera on. Got enough antennas over there, Rick, you, look like you could do a live broadcast.
Next week.
Coming into base, we have a connection.
We gotta find out from that guy what's doing that.
Ricky's heart. Nice shot.
You forget about it until you turn it back on again. Like, I don't know,
Are those two portables on? Because that's about the only new thing we put in, was one more wireless.
No, it's on, everything's on now.
It's
Let's
working.
shut those off.
This isn't,
I turned this one off.
this one isn't on.
Turn the light on.
That's on. It wasn't on.
Okay, we gotta get in touch with
This
you.
one's off.
Got a good beat.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board to order for May 7, 2012 at 6:30 p.m. Have a roll call, please.
Bernie Bassett,
Here.
Thomas Wood. Here. Paul Lemoy.
Here.
Gerard Renadette.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
Rick Collins.
Resolution 148. Approving the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of April 16, 2012 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Have a motion?
So,
Mr. Renada, second, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? One of the things we're doing a little different, I just know your copy has a different draft on it. This should be the draft following the edits from the work session. And then once we finalize this, that would be removed as the final. So this one, mine's in red. I don't know if yours, as you can tell, it's different.
right.
It's a different font. You know, will help us indicate what stage of the finalizing process this is in. We had that one resolution, I believe we corrected that. Any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Paul Lemoy.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Portion of the meeting, we invite anyone who'd like to address the board, ask them to state their name, address, and limit the comments to 5 minutes. And otherwise, move on. Resolution 149, abstract 5A.
Resolved that the abstract of audit claims number 5A-12, 823 to 953 for $248,833.62. An abstract 5A-12, 201 to 223 prepaid in the amount of $466,254.49. And be received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisors hereby authorized to pay said abstract.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Robert Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 150, codes and zoning department monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Stephen Einhoff, Code Enforcement Officer for the month of April 2004.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Robert Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 151, historians monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a historian's monthly report for the month of April
A
2004.
motion?
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion?
I see they've been very busy, and it looks as if they're helping our destination master plan for the area by giving presentations and actually getting interest in our exhibits and the things that we're gonna be doing for the Battle of Plattsburgh commemoration.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Robert Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 151, planning department monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Phil Von Barden, Planning and Engineering Department Head for the month of May 2012.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Robert Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 153, town clerk's monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Rick Collins, Town Clerk, for the month of April 2012.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Robert Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Resolution carries, yes. Resolution 154, appointment of Claire Bainbridge as an alternate to the zoning board of appeals.
Whereas a vacancy exists for an alternate member of the zoning board of appeals, and whereas Claire Bainbridge will be willing to serve as an alternate member of the zoning board of appeals. Therefore be resolved, as per local law number 1 of the year 1999, the town board does hereby appoint Claire Bainbridge, a resident of the town of Plattsburgh, as an alternate to the zoning board of appeals for a term to expire December 31st, 2014. And it be further resolved that Ms. Bainbridge take the oath of office within 30 days of this resolution. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the board chairperson and code enforcement officer.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, the resolution carries. Resolution 155, request to attend annual New York Rural Association's Technical Conference, Rural Water Associations.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water and Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and licensing. Whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in the water and wastewater regulations, technology updates, and related system efficiencies. Now therefore be resolved that Jason Hendry, a supervisor in the department, be allowed to attend the annual technical conference held on May 21st and May 24th, 2012 in Verona, New York. And it be further resolved that $407 for lodging and meals and $325 for registration be charged to the Water Wastewater Department budget. And then a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, the Water Wastewater Director, and one place in Mr. Henry's personnel file.
Motion,
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Benedette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 156, request to attend annual New York Rural Water Association's technical conference.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water and Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and licensing, and whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in the water and wastewater regulations, technology updates, and related system efficiencies. Therefore, be resolved that Marcia Wynn, Senior Account Clerk Typist, be allowed to attend the annual technical conference held on May 21st through May 24th, 2012, in Verona, New York. And it be further resolved that $407 for lodging and meals and $325 for registration be charged to the Water Wastewater Department budget. And a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and Water and Wastewater Director, and one place in Mrs. Wynn's personnel file.
A motion.
Move table.
I had the motion from Mr. Lemoy first, so I'm gonna record that. Let me go to a second, Paul. If I don't give him, then we'll go to the table, okay? Is there a motion to second the resolution? Paul, would you like to move to table?
I would.
I'd like to second that motion to table with an explanation.
Okay, we have a motion to table, seconded by Paul, seconded by Gerard. Gerard, do you like to make comment?
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Lemoy, and he actually brings up a very good point. We have the agenda for this conference, and a lot of the classes that are being held, there's 3 classes per day. We're going to be asked to approve 2 other members of the Water Wastewater Department to go down there for a total of 4. I think that this could be adequately attended to by 3 members rather than 4, and since we have to table at least one, or we have to at least eliminate one person or consider that, we decided to go with the clerk rather than the department head and 2 of the other, his assistant and the one other supervisor. I would like for Tom and I, as Water and Sewer Committee, to meet with Mr. Stoddard and find out if he has some serious justification as to why this 4th person should go. If that is the case, then Monday night we can hit this off the table and approve Ms. Wynn.
Okay, any other discussion? I think that's very clear.
Thank you.
As we said, that the deadline for registration is now, so if we table it, then I assume that you wouldn't be able to go.
I'm assuming that with the deadline for registration being today and the lateness of this resolution coming to us, there probably was reservations made in anticipation of us approving this. It's very easy to withdraw one of those reservations. I don't believe there's any charge to the town as long as it's done in proper order, proper time. So I don't fault the department for registering prior to asking our permission to send everybody. It's a lot of times been a foregone conclusion, we're gonna send everybody. This is one time when I think that it requires a little bit more explanation.
Yeah, if it comes out that the 4th person isn't going, we'll have to deal with the cancellation, that's all. Any other discussion? A roll call vote on the motion to table.
Thomas Wood,
No?
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Benedette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, the motion is tabled to the work session. Resolution 157, request to attend annual New York Rural Association's technical conference.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water and Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and licensing. Whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in the water and wastewater regulations, technology updates, and related system efficiencies. Now therefore be resolved that Powell Wright, Assistant Superintendent, be allowed to attend the annual conference held on May 21st to May 24th, 2012 in Verona, New York. And it be further resolved that $407 for lodging and meals and $325 for registration be charged to the Water and Wastewater Department budget. And a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, the Water and Wastewater Director, and one place in Mr. Wright's personnel file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Woods, second.
Second.
Mr. Renaud. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, the resolution is carried. Resolution 158, request to attend annual New York Rural Water Association's technical conference.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water and Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and licensing. And whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in the water and wastewater regulations, technology updates, and related system efficiency. Therefore, it be resolved that Water and Wastewater Director Scott Stoddard be allowed to attend the annual technical conference held May 21st to May 24th, 2012, in Verona, New York. And it be further resolved that $407 for lodging and meals and $325 for registration be charged to the Water and Wastewater Department budget. And a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, Water and Wastewater Director, and one place in Mr. Stoddard's personnel file.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Woods, second.
Second.
Mr. Renaud. Any discussion?
That last resolve is a bit redundant. We got the water, to be copy placed in the water, wastewater director, and one given to him and then one placed in his personnel file?
Yes. It's, the only redundancy is the personnel file. I mean, in giving him one, it's the same as giving it to the director. You know, normally we let the individual have one as well. What would you suggest? Maybe I missed something. We're giving one to the budget officer, to the director,
Oh, I see.
and one to
One
his
being
file.
put into his file and one
Right.
given to him. All right, I withdraw that. I have no problem with that.
Okay,
As long as we're not gonna frame one.
probably not. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 159, 3% site plan return deposit for hospice site plan 2009.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Planning Board has reviewed and approved all product requirements for the hospice site plan 2009. Whereas the hospice site plan 2009 has on file with the town of Plattsburgh a 3% deposit for construction of the project in the original amount of $2,281.46 plus accrued interest. And whereas the planning department has coordinated an inspection of said project and reports all requirements have been met and completed. And whereas on behalf of the Hospice of the North Country, Chief Financial Officer Greg McDonald has requested a 3% deposit in the amount of $2,281.46 plus accrued interest to date be returned. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to release that amount of deposit in the amount of $2,281.46 plus accrued interest to date. And it be further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded by the planning department secretary with the return of the deposit to Hospice of the North Country, 358 Tom Miller Road, Plattsburgh, New York, 12901.
You have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Moy, second.
Second.
Mr. Renaud. Any discussion?
We need to, okay, for the engineer.
I have a copy of that. You should have of his
Oh,
letter.
okay. I have,
Bombarded.
signing department, so,
Right.
and you have one from the other. Okay.
I don't want to mislead you. I have the planning department, not an engineer's.
Are we supposed to have that?
I think it depends on the project. I'm comfortable with the planning department letting me know that all the requirements have been fulfilled. I think they're as strict as anybody with monitoring that. If he needed confirmation on anything technical from an engineer, he would have provided it. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 160, contract number 2, master meters for Morrisonville Consolidated Water District, periodic estimate number 2.
Whereas the Water and Wastewater Department and the Town Board have previously identified the need to standardize water meters, and the LGE grant awarded its purchase contract to Northeast National Water LLC for master meters for the Plattsburgh Morrisonville Consolidated Water District. And whereas LaBerge Engineering and Consulting Group and Scott Stoddard, Director of the Water and Wastewater Department, have reviewed proposed changes to the contract and recommend them as indicated, covering the period from December 16, 2011 to January 31st, 2012. Therefore, be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to make payment for periodic estimate number 2 dated March 12, 2012, in the amount of $27,083.55 as payment to East National Water LLC, P.O. Box 991, Palmer, Massachusetts, 01069. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Water Wastewater Director and to the Budget Officer.
Motion,
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
In this case, Mr. Stoddard, you have, I assume you have that?
Yes, he signed off on it as well. Okay. Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 161, adoption of a credit card use policy.
Whereas many towns across New York now have one or more credit cards, accounts in the name of the municipality, to make credit card purchases available to staff for agency purchases. And whereas the use of credit card offers a number of advantages over more traditional form of municipality payment, allowing the town to obtain items more quickly than otherwise be possible, as well as making possible internet purchases or purchases with a company that has not established a line of credit with the municipality. And whereas the credit cards are more convenient with respect to frequent recurring purchases for small items, that instead of using voucher process cost the municipality unnecessary time and money to process small recurring purchases. Whereas the town board wishes to ensure that the procurement with credit cards is accomplished pursuant to a policy and procedure established by the town board that will enhance productivity, significantly reduce paperwork, provide internal controls, reduce the overall costs associated with approving purchases, and to ensure that the town bears no legal liability for inappropriate use of the credit card. Now therefore be resolved that the town of Plattsburgh Town Board adopts the attached policy for credit card use for purchases prescribed in said policy. And it be further resolved that the budget officer and town auditors will review the credit card policy on an annual basis and make recommendations for amendments as necessary to reflect the interviewing changes. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and to the departments impacted by the credit card policy.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion?
Yes, it's just gonna be the department heads that have control of the credit card.
The way this one's being set up, Tom, yes, and right now, we have that limited to 5 departments. Actually, it's been a conversation for years. The last few months, we've really begun to focus, had conversations with, officials from Bates, did a lot of research with Comptroller's Office and beyond. Have also met with department heads to solicit some of their input and feedback because, as you see, there's a document they have to sign, taking some responsibility for this. That seems to be the best way that it works more effectively and efficiently. It's like a lot of things we do that are new and have a little bit of exposure, and I looked at our town attorney with a little bit of grin, with the line that this policy would assure that there's no legal liability to the town, which, as I've heard him say many times, you know, we can never guarantee anything like that. But this is a process that's used, and it's encouraged, actually, that municipalities take this, and no other two people could see the value of that more than Gerard and Paul, as they go through that stack of vouchers. I think Paul was in the other day when I was going through, and I think there were 2, 3 that, you know, were around $2. You know, time is money. Every time you're touching things, you're tracing things, you're processing things, you're printing things. The credit card, and I think we've probably all learned, and credit cards probably are on the way out to new technology, but there's a school in Florida right now that's using, it's almost like Star Trek, your palm print. That's the authorization, they can verify who it is. I mean, it's unbelievable. But that's easier to retrieve and cut your losses than a check. And cash has absolutely no value as far as, you know, retrieving or cutting your cash is lost forever. By doing it by department, it very quickly identifies where that charge is going. The department will be responsible, the head of the department, to have the authorization. They will have to have for us matching receipts for each purchase. Credit card bills, as you know, are very specific of the date and the time, the place, and the product in many cases. So it may even be more efficient than just throwing down, you know, a 2x4 for $1.82.
So the signatures of all the people that might use them that are designated by the department head would be on file.
Yeah, you know, some of the real operational details, I think we have to link our policy with the vendor, and how that works with them as well, but as you can see, there's a fairly lengthy list of procedures, et cetera. I didn't make those up, those came from guidelines. We especially used one from New South Wales, had done a heck of a job, and comptroller's office and so on. So there are a couple more, you know, operational pieces once we plug it in, but.
So this will bring us up to last century?
Yeah.
And then Star Trek is the next century?
I don't know, it's, as crazy as it sounds, and I think most of you know that, change is difficult sometimes. And there was a gentleman I used to know, used to say it's sort of like trying to change the wheels in the bus while it's going down the road, you know, 90 miles an hour full of passengers, and that's what we try to do. It's tough sometimes. We can't do like a retail wheel and close the doors and have, do everything you want to do and have a grand reopening in 30 days. But it will certainly, my view and opinion, I could be wrong, will be of great value. It will be an efficiency, it will save money. I would ask, and I did put in this resolution, that our auditors would review this, and I would ask, if this is passed, for Paul and Gerard to really put it on your end-of-the-year calendars. In this you know, current year, we've had some experience. I think it's enough months, you know, while we're sure the two of you are the budget, are the auditors, and have the familiarity and understand the need. It'd be a great thing to do sometime, you know, in December. And then we can adjust if we need to as we go forward. How's that for a long answer to a short question?
Yeah, very good, very good.
Any other questions? A roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Moy,
Yes.
Gerard Benedek.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, the resolution carries. I think one thing with that, Tom, is time has gone on. When I first proposed this, as I said a few years ago, Diane was adamantly against it. And as she's gathered information and really has begun to look at the process, she agrees we need to go this direction. It's that, or you're going to keep hiring staff to do minutia. Resolution 162, acceptance of bid for a new tandem axle plow chassis.
Whereas bids for a new tandem axle plow chassis were publicly opened in the Red Aloud on Monday, April 16, 2012, at 3 p.m. prevailing time at the Town Hall Office Complex, 151 Baker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, 12901. And whereas James Woods, Highway Superintendent, has received said bids in a letter dated April 17, 2012, requesting that the town board accept the low bid that was submitted. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, does hereby authorize the supervisor to award the low bid for 2013 tandem axle plow chassis to Charlie Boys Incorporated from Milton, Vermont, in the total amount of $115,985. And it be further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all related documents relative to the award of said bid, and a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and to the highway superintendent.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Woods, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadek, any discussion?
This was in the budget and was approved ahead of time by the committee.
Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 163, bid acceptance of snowplow equipment and a dump body.
Whereas bids for snowplow equipment and dump body were publicly opened and read aloud on Monday, April 16, 2012, at 3:30 p.m. prevailing time at the Town Hall Office Complex, 151 Baker Road, Plattsburgh, New York. Whereas James Woods, Highway Superintendent, has reviewed said bids in the letter dated April 17, 2012, requested that the town board accept the low bid. Now therefore be resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board is hereby authorized the supervisor to award the low bid for plow equipment and dump body to Viking Cleves USA in the amount of bid of $58,795. And it be further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all related documents relative to the award of said bid, and that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and to the highway superintendent.
Motion.
So moved.
Mr. Woods, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 164, tennis court resurfacing and repainting for Treadwell Mills Recreation Park.
Whereas the Park and Recreation Department is responsible for maintenance of 8 sets of tennis courts in the town of Plattsburgh. Whereas the department must maintain the tennis courts on a maintenance schedule. And whereas Ms. DeFayette has obtained formal written quotes for the purchase of tennis court resurfacing and painting that were received and reviewed by Ms. DeFayette. Now therefore be resolved and received and placed on file a letter dated March 19, 2012 from Mr. Fayette, Youth Services and Recreation Director, requesting permission to resurface the tennis court at Treadwell Mills as a part of the annual maintenance and upkeep. And it be further resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, does hereby authorize purchase of previously mentioned resurfacing, cleaning, and painting of the tennis courts by Northern Snow and Dirt in the amount of $9,200, with recommendations of a third coat, as tarmac has never been done, for an additional amount of $2,400 for a total amount of $11,600. And it be further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign any and all related documents relative to the purchase of the quotes for resurfacing and repainting Treadwell Mills Court. And it be made payable from the field maintenance account A7710.4115 for 2012. It is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and to the Youth Service Recreational Director.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second. Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 165, purchase of water reading meters.
Whereas Resolution 09-296 authorized the standardization of the water reading meters by Neptune Water Meters. And whereas Neptune Technology Group has submitted documentation stating Tie Sales Incorporated is the authorized level 1 certified distributor for Neptune and has exclusive supplier of Neptune products in upstate New York market area. Therefore be resolved that the town board approve the purchase as requested and that the water and wastewater director is hereby authorized to make said purchase in the amount of $15,811.92. And be further resolved that payment be made payable from the 2012 water and wastewater budget account SW 6.8340.4170. And that a copy of this resolution be given to the water and wastewater department and to the budget officer.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Woods, second.
Second.
Mr. Renner. Any discussion?
Mr. Stoddard did send an email out to the Water and Sewer Committee because he was concerned with the purchase of the water meters. There might be a problem if the committee hadn't been consulted. Basically, this is something that is a maintenance item, and it really shouldn't require prior authorization. It's one also that I can attest to the fact that we do need it, because my meter was recently replaced at my house, and with one of the new style meters, and it was brought to light that the old meter was reading slowly. So my water bill was double. This
Or
is
what
the
it
kind-
should be.
double what it should have been. The older technology, the radio reads weren't working well enough. The readers had to actually come by the house, and they couldn't get a good reading. So as consequently, almost for a whole year, I was getting estimated bills rather than actual reads. So that was the reason for it. Completely justified. I would never think to appeal it. But it just goes to show you that if we don't keep up with the technology, we are losing out on a valuable commodity that is going through the meters. And also, you're gonna have a lot of complaints from customers when they get their bill. Mine was $51. I can't imagine what it would be if it was Pyramid Corporation or somebody else that had a lot more that could have possibly gone through, and they weren't caught. Some people, we've been getting requests for adjustments because their bills are $100, $200, $300 for a year. So this is something that's necessary, and I can attest to the fact that I think that we should move forward on it.
Joy, do you know offhand if these are going in the town or in Scholar Falls?
These are going into the town.
Okay.
The idea is to replace as many as we can on an annual basis. I think this is the first installment. We're looking at probably close to $500,000 to replace all the meters that need to be replaced, so.
Yeah, it's only 50, right?
Right.
We've also had a lot of individual discussion about when these are installed, and most probably they're going to surface a use that is greater than had been previously metered and billed and paid. Is the committee working with the department on coming up with some sort of a recommendation for a policy and a way to manage that?
We're still working on that policy, but I did, again, as a result of the bill that I got, the bill I received had no meter reading numbers on it at all. There was no indication as to why my bill was suddenly twice what it ordinarily was. I had some contact with the water and sewer department, and they reissued another bill, which I think would satisfy anybody. It basically says the meter was swapped out, this is your reading, and this is how many gallons were underbilled. So it gives an explanation as to why your bill is going to be higher for that quarter.
Yeah. And you're being rational about it, which is nice, but that's not the norm, and if it were several $100s, it's...
$51 for water is still a deal.
Right, but I mean, you know where I'm going. We do need a policy, and I know you guys have been talking about that, so it can be, fair and fair consistent.
Well, we really need to put the money into getting new meters.
We're probably gonna discuss that more at budget time, I have a feeling.
Well, we might be discussing it before then.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things we've done, I think. You make the investment now and you reap the benefits going forward. I don't disagree, and I don't think the director does either. And, it's good to see he's got a chunk of them now coming in. I suspect if we bought the appropriate quantity, it would take some time to get them in anyway, so. Maybe he's got a plan to do 50 at a time and just keep doing it until they're caught up. And if not, maybe that's a plan he should work on, right? Any other discussion? Thank you for the information. Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul LeMoy,
Yes.
Troy Renza,
Yes.
Bernie Bassel.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 166, Twin States Service Agreement Upgrade of Existing Telephone System.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh maintains an annual maintenance renewal agreement with Twin State of 291 Rand Hill Road, Morrisonville, New York, 12962, to provide telephone hardware, software, and system support. Whereas the town board has provided funds within the general fund of the town of Plattsburgh 2012 budget for telephone repairs and upgrades. Whereas it is understood that technology has changed significantly along the lines, the need to remain current with communication needs and equipment. Whereas the existing equipment has not been upgraded in the past 10 years, and a limited number of existing analog fax lines, along with the addition of new equipment, will enable the current staff to better respond to the needs of their office. And whereas after careful study of the needs and options, Twin State has submitted a proposal with the New York contract pricing to provide upgrades as indicated in the amount of $25,730. Therefore, be resolved after review by the town attorney, the supervisor be authorized to execute the equipment purchase and use agreement as submitted by Twin State. And a copy of the agreement and resolution be given to the budget officer.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion? Good.
Okay.
I was loaded. Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
And Bertie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. That's another thing we've looked at for a number of years, and I think we'll see a lot of efficiencies. Resolution 167, permanent appointment of Aaron Pangborn as Recreation Program Coordinator.
Whereas a vacancy exists in the town of Plattsburgh Recreation Department for a recreation program coordinator. And whereas resolution 01-147 previously appointed Ms. Pangborn to the position pending successful completion of the required civil service exam. And whereas Ms. Pangborn has successfully completed the civil service exam and is now qualified for permanent appointment. And whereas Melody Defiant, Recreation Director, recommends Ms. Pangborn permanent appointment to enable the Youth Service and Recreation Department to continue to provide programs and service to the community. Therefore, be resolved that the Town Board, Town of Plattsburgh, appoint Ms. Pangborn as Recreational Program Coordinator Assistant effective May 1st, 2012, with a probationary period of 1 year. And therefore, be resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Recreation Director, and a copy forwarded to the Clinton County Department of Personnel for civil service final approval and filing.
Motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, discussion.
The resolution in the second whereas, I think that's a typo. I think it should be 10-147, not 01.
I'll say the same thing. Can't
Because-
possibly be.
Right, the letters attached says that Janet Sosnicki has resigned her position as Recreation Director Coordinator as of April 30th, 2010.
Yeah, it was 010, a little dyslexia. That will be amended.
Bernie, do we wind up I mean, she's already been on a year's probation as the temporary person. Is there a reason she has to serve another year probation?
Yeah, I had that conversation with Mel briefly. She was concerned that there was not a need for her to do that because she's been here that long. And I didn't disagree that we didn't feel there was a need for her. But as I told Mel, my concern is she was in a provisional appointment. She passed the exam, now she gets a permanent appointment. The individuals that we hire to full-time permanent positions have a 1-year probation. And I would hate to change that, I'd hate to create that precedent.
It's normal throughout many other.
It really is, and, you know, she's proven herself, but there could be a different situation, a different time, and somebody who's, you know, now passed, but we're really getting more concerned, and we've got a year. We've set a year, I want to keep a
Provisional
year.
for 4 years and then on probation for 2, so. 6 years to
You
get
don't
on.
need to rush into anything.
So I was approached by that, as you can imagine, and I feel we should stay with it. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul LeBoy,
Yes.
Gerard Rennick.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 168, temporary seasonal hire of Patrick Robert in the Recreation Funds Beautification Program.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated May 3rd, 2012, from Melanie Defy, Youth Service and Recreation Director, requesting help with the summer beautification program. Whereas Robert Robert is interested in the position for 2012 and has agreed to work on a temporary full-time basis at a rate of $8 per hour from 6/25 to 8/31/2012 as needed. Whereas all employment verification and eligibility has been satisfied, and the Youth Service and Recreation Director recommends that Mr. Robert be appointed to the position. Now, be it therefore resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire Mr. Robert as a seasonal temporary worker in the Parks and Recreation Department, and that a certified copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, youth director, pool insurance, and to Clinton County Civil Service personnel for their final approval and filing of a copy, and a copy be placed in Mr. Robert's file.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renner, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion?
Yeah, just in the second, whereas Ricky read it as Robert Robert. Bob has no intention of coming back to mow lawns. It's his son, Patrick.
If we can get him at $8 an hour, then very fine.
Yeah,
I'm concerned at this.
Robert, it should be Patrick, sorry.
Right.
Right.
yeah.
And I'll just note that.
I make that as a correction.
Tom has a correction.
Oh, for the record, Tom, I'll let you repeat it.
These did not come to the committee, at least to the Recreation Committee. I don't know if they went to personnel, but it's technically at least the way we were going to start operating was that we would be checking on each person who's hired, and that was not done in this case. So I don't have objections to the people necessarily, but I haven't heard anything about any of them.
Right. Well, I think it's safe to say too that the town board has never ever hired the people in the summertime in this department, and this is really a new thing for Mel too. So I was concerned also that we didn't meet, but it's kind of a new practice for her to even bring it to the town board. It used to be, when Bob was running the department, Bob just hired the kids that he hired for the summer, and it was one of my comments that we don't even wind up knowing who works for the town in the summertime, which is why this whole process started. So I agree with you, Tom, but this is a step in the right direction. I did speak to Mel today about the salaries and what have you here, and was satisfied with what's in front of us, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, and really, the town board always hires, with
Right.
one exception, and that's highway, and we just,
Correct.
for some reason, the town board have been left out of that loop, and
Yep.
hopefully the practice is getting ingrained, and exactly what you said, Tom, is what should happen. You discuss it with the committee first, and ideally get it to a work session, and then we move
Right.
on, so we'll get there. But these young people need to know if they've got a job or not, I guess, and there's probably some work to do. Point is taken for the record, Tom.
Well, and one more comment is, she has added a couple of extra people for the next couple of weeks, because we all know that with the rain, the grass has grown tremendously, and she's got all the parks to get cleaned up and mowed and ready for all the programs that are gonna start, plus by Memorial Day, she's got all 6 town-maintained cemeteries to get cleaned, trimmed, and neatened up by Memorial Day, so it's a pretty big task for that committee to do in a couple of weeks.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul LeMoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Rennick.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 169, temporary seasonal hire Jonathan Schiroli to work in the Recreation Department's beautification program.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated May 3rd, 2012, from Melanie Defy, Youth Service and Recreation Director, requesting help with the Recreation Department's beautification program. Whereas Jonathan Schiroli worked in the position last year and would like to work again this year as a temporary full-time basis at a rate of pay of $8 per hour from 6/25/2012 to 8/31/2012 as needed. Whereas all employment verification and eligibility has been satisfied, and the Youth Service and Recreational Director recommends that Mr. Schirardi be appointed to said position. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire Mr. Schirardi as a seasonal temporary employee in the Park and Recreation Department, and that a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Youth Director, Pool Insurance, and the Clinton County Civil Service Department for personnel for final approval and filing, and that a copy be placed in Mr. Schirardi's file.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Goff.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 170, temporary seasonal hire Luke Jenks in the Recreation Department's beautification program and as a lifeguard.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated May 3rd, 2012, from Melanie DeFi, Youth Service Director, Recreational Director, requesting help with the Recreation Department's beautification and swim program. Whereas Luke Jerks worked in the program last year and has interest in the position for 2012, and has agreed to work on a temporary full-time basis at a rate of pay of $8 per hour from 5/14/12 to 6/15/12, as needed. Whereas all employment verification and eligibility has been satisfied, and the Youth Service Recreation Director recommends that Mrs. Jenks be appointed to the position. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire Ms. Jenks in a seasonal temporary in the Park and Recreation Department, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Youth Director, Pool Insurance, Clinton County Civil Service Department personnel for their final approval and filing, and a copy be placed in Ms. Jenks' file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion?
Yeah, a couple of things here. First of all, we're gonna be hiring Luke twice. He's getting hired on for the next few weeks as on the lawn mowing crew, which we pay starting people working the lawn mowing crew $8 an hour. You're gonna see in a few weeks when we open up our beaches in our Morrisonville, that he's gonna switch to a lifeguard, which he's gonna be coming back as a second year as a lifeguard. At that point, we're gonna be hiring him as a lifeguard at $9.25 an hour. So the $8 is just a temporary thing until the beginning of June, or the middle of June, when we open up the water parks, and that's when.
So we'll get another
The reason it's
resolution.
not together is because we don't know when it's supposed to start?
Correct. She's going to give us another resolution when we actually hire him as a lifeguard, so we'll actually know the day he's being let go from the beautification program and what day he's being transferred to the lifeguard program, so. And it's really the same in the
For
next
one, Justin
resolution.
Grotto?
Also, yeah, because he's coming back, it's gonna be his fourth year as a lifeguard, so he'll be returning as a $10 an hour lifeguard, because we give everybody a 25-cent raise every year, but because it's his first year working for the mowing crew, he's starting at $8 an hour while he's mowing. That's the long explanation.
Good.
Yep.
That actually is firm, fair, and consistent, too.
Yep.
I have a feeling the committee will be meeting with the director soon. Maybe you could also see if you can get an update on the plan to address the dam. We have some FEMA money tagged to that project, and I just don't want that to suddenly we blink and summer's over, unfortunately, you know how that goes. Any other discussion on this resolution? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Goff.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 171, temporary seasonal hire Dustin Grotto in the Recreation Department's beautification and swim programs.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated May 3rd, 2012, from Melanie DeFi, Youth Service and Recreation Director, requesting help with the beautification and swim program. And whereas Dustin Grotto has worked in this position for 3 years and is interested in the position for 2012, and has agreed to work on a temporary full-time basis at a rate of pay of $8 per hour from 5/29/2012 to 6/15/2012 as needed. Whereas all employment verification and eligibility have been satisfied, and the Youth Service and Recreational Director recommends that Mr. Grotto be appointed to the said position. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire Mr. Grotto as a seasonal temporary employee in the Park and Recreation Department. And a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Youth Director, Pool Insurance, and the Clinton County Civil Service Department for personnel for their final approval and filing. And a copy be placed in Mr. Grotto's file.
The motion,
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Renner, any discussion?
We really should change this because he hasn't worked in this position for 3 years.
He's
worked
swim
as-
for 3?
He's worked as a lifeguard for 3 years, and really the same for the other one. He hasn't worked for the beautification program before. It's really two separate accounts. And yeah, so this is really just a temporary employment, basically for 3 weeks. And the other reason for this is, we hire the rest of our summer help after high school gets out, which our mowing supervisor is a high school teacher, and most of the rest of that crew are high school age students, so that's where we wind up getting the rest of those people from. These are college students that are gonna be available really quickly.
The previous one talked about working in the programs, which is probably generic enough, but this one talks about in the position, and this is his first time doing the mowing, correct?
Right.
So we really should strike that.
Just strike and go
Has
where
worked in
is
position for
interested.
3 years.
Yeah.
Right, to is interested, okay? Gerard, you're comfortable with that?
Yes, not a
Strike,
problem.
just clarifies that we were there. Okay, as amended, any other discussion?
Yeah, and if you want to, on the titles of both of those, Bernie, you can take out
Cut the swing.
the swinger lifeguard problem, because we're gonna see those as lifeguards when they do come back, so.
Gerard, you're comfortable with the dropping the swim portion of the title
Sure, that's not a problem.
just into the beautification program at this point? Okay, any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes,
Gerard Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 172, appointment of John Hebert as an alternate to the Board of Ethics.
Whereas the town board passed local law number 2 of 2009, reauthorizing the town of Plattsburgh Board of Ethics. Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Board of Ethics is desirous to fill a vacant position of alternate board members. Now therefore be resolved that John Hebert, a resident of the town of Plattsburgh, be appointed as an alternate member to the town of Plattsburgh Board of Ethics for a term to expire December 31st, 2012. And it be further resolved that Mr. Hebert be given the oath of office within 30 days of his appointment, and that the original copy of said oath be filed with the town clerk. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to Gerard Renadette, Board of Ethics Chairperson, and Mr. Hebert.
A motion. Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renner, any discussion?
The term should be expiring 2013 to be consistent with our other alternate. And I would just want to add that this was again, 11th hour request. I sent the letter off to Bernie asking him to please include this in the agenda so that I didn't forget it. We had our Board of Ethics meeting the end of last month, and the board did authorize Mr. Hebert to fill this position. Sheila Brockway has since decided she can't serve anymore in any kind of committed role. So we will be sending, the Board of Ethics will be sending her a thank you letter. But I did want to get this before it fell through the cracks. One other thing we're having a problem with is oaths of office. And it was brought to my attention, Dr. Moran, who's one of our members, missed his deadline. He was still active. He was within that 30 days when we held our meeting. So fortunately, we don't have to take a look at everything that he voted on and strike it. But he has not taken it yet. So I've left word in the town clerk's office, sent word to him that he needs to come in and take his oath of office. And rather than put the cart before the horse like we've been doing and appoint, waiting for the oath of office, I'm gonna have him take his oath of office and then we'll appoint him after he takes it. I don't see where that's a huge problem. It it's the intention of this board and the Board of Ethics to reappoint him. So why not let him take his oath?
I believe we already have,
We've appointed him twice,
yeah, so, yeah, if he takes it, that's fine. We
so
appointed
just so
him,
this, just
And
so
then we'll
this
just
board,
pass another resolution, yeah.
just so this board knows, what I'm looking for this time is to have him take his oath of office, and then we'll appoint him, this board will appoint him. If it doesn't happen before our October meeting, I'm gonna let him know that he, he can't participate in the meeting. So,
And he's been attending the meetings, hasn't he?
he's been attending the meetings, he's very committed to it, he teaches ethics at the college, I mean,
Can't we
he's,
pass a new resolution right before you have your October meeting and have somebody give him the oath of office when he comes to the meeting?
I mean, does it have to be the clerk? Can't the chair give the oath?
I have no idea. If somebody would like to let me know that, I'd
Or-
be glad to.
It
Any one of the
it
judges
it could
downstairs
be,
could, I mean, if you
a
know when
notary,
they're here.
a notary public could do
Notary?
it too.
Either one of the judges or Danielle or I.
Or a notary public.
Well, I'm Republic, okay.
No, not a notary public. I think you
All
got,
right.
you got the last
That,
part.
that way we're
right,
not
but,
asking him to come here just to do that, he's coming here and just trying to get everything done in one day.
All right.
Appoint him the Monday before your meeting and then let him take the oath of office.
I'm not sure taking an oath prior to being authorized the position is a good practice. And that seems like the cart ahead of the horse.
I understand that. It's just, it's been getting frustrating because, like I said, we've already made the appointment twice.
Well, can you advise us a week or two before the,
I can try to coordinate with him when he's going to come in and, let him know that we need to go through this process correctly.
When is your October meeting?
The 23rd, I believe.
and you meet here?
Yes,
At what time?
4:30.
I know how to matter.
I believe we changed it because the members have been having trouble. I think we're going to, let me just.
I was gonna say, I think Bernie is right, it is an odd order, you swear somebody in
Right.
before they've been appointed.
Yeah, it sounds like a coercion.
Now, we're going to have it on the 23rd again, but we're changing the start time to 5:15 because Dr. Moran and Herb Carpenter both have classes that they teach. So it was making it harder and harder for them to show up at 4:30. So it's still gonna be October 23rd, which is the third Tuesday, actually the fourth Tuesday in October.
Well, if you don't want the judges, you get a notary public and have them.
Certainly a judge downstairs on Tuesday night, so, I mean,
All right,
if Ricky can't be here, he'd just have to adjourn court for 2 minutes to come upstairs and do it.
all right.
It shouldn't be a big deal.
I'll send that along to Dr.
Or,
Moran and let him know.
or we could go downstairs and administer it down there so that the people get an idea, but the judges do something else.
The only other thing that might cause a problem is if the Board of Ethics is called into session to give an opinion.
Well, if they are, we
It
will
doesn't,
have
it
to.
doesn't happen a lot, but.
Then again, we can still authorize it that Monday before, I
Sure.
mean, you know a few days ahead of
Right.
that you're
We'll be-
being
Well, you can
convened.
pull your alternate in if you get into that pickle.
Exactly, we have, that's why we try to keep the bank of alternates going.
Right.
I'll make sure
You
he
can
gets
appoint
his
him
oath.
anytime when he can come in, I mean, as far as that goes.
As long as he does it in
Well,
30 days.
it has to be done within 30 days, and that's where the problem has been
No,
happening.
I know, but if you appoint him on a thing, we can make an adjustment to the time that he gets appointed, to the time that he's free to come in here and sign.
All right,
You know what I mean?
I'll give him a call, see if we can't coordinate
I mean,
something.
because I called him 3 or 4 times, we did, to try and get him to come in. onto it.
So what it sounds like, I guess just in summary, so I can be sure, we will make note that in September, or excuse me, the October meeting that precedes the 23rd, we would do a resolution and hopefully when he comes for the meeting, if not before, get one of the judges and
Right.
do the oath.
If.
Unless he could come by 5, Ricky's always here until
Right.
5-ish.
If we can keep it open though, I'll try to get him earlier than that, he may have some time this summer when teaching starts.
Yeah, if he makes an appointment, we can pass the resolution again at the
Right.
previous meeting, if it's a work session or a regular meeting.
All right.
That's what I'm saying, if he can tell us what day is convenient for him,
Do the
and
resolution
then he can
before.
do the resolution on Monday before.
Okay.
Or, and again, I think your concern is warranted, but if something were to surface you had to take some action on, you're gonna have to use an alternate.
In worst case, if you can come on a Tuesday, Thursday night, even if it's later, we can make arrangements for the
Okay.
judges to do it too, so, anyway, either one, they'd be glad.
Any other discussion?
So as I understand it, as we're passing this resolution 172, we're gonna change the date to 2013.
Thank you.
Right.
As I looked at the list that I had, the alternates were expiring 12/31/12.
12?
They're appointed for a year, and this is filling a vacancy to end 12/31 this year.
Okay, yeah, I see that down there, and I had asked, evidently, my request hadn't gotten through. I had asked that they be 2-year appointments, but we need to visit our local law,
Your
because,
sheet says Sheila's expired 2013, though.
right, that's,
Yeah, Sheila's on that sheet, expired 2013.
but it also has alternates for 1 year, and this was in 2011, which showed them 2-year appointments.
You're the chair, you want a 13? As long as it's not contradictory to your bylaws.
I think if you take a look at Anne Marie Morgan's, I believe her expiration date is 2013, and I'd like to keep them both the same.
Yep, I agree. So it's amended to 13. Tom, is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 173, Highway Department material purchase to repair storm damage from 2011 Hurricane Irene.
Whereas continued maintenance and improvement in the town highways within the town of Plattsburgh is necessary responsibility of the highway department. And whereas 2011 Hurricane Irene had done damage to Buck Corners Road, and repairs are still needed for a section of the road to reopen. And procedures and purchases of commodity equipment and goods and contract values require the town to solicit price quotes for an amount not to exceed $10,000. Whereas James Wood, Highway Superintendent, has received a state contract pricing quote for purchase of culvert pipe and gasket bands at a total estimated cost of $34,596.94 for pipe and bands. Now therefore be resolved that the town board approve the purchase as recommended, and that the highway superintendent is hereby authorized to make said purchase. And it be further resolved that payment be made payable from the 2012 highway budget FEMA account H75-5130-4000. And it be further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign any and all related documents required for said purchase. And a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and to the highway
Have a
superintendent.
motion.
So,
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
I have a question as to how it works. They call state contract, and is this pipe, is Bangor the only supplier of this pipe in this area, or how does it work?
I don't have the answer to that question, but if that's state contract, my understanding is that's the price that we are authorized to take. There are times when we find price below state contract, we've experienced that often. I can't speak for Jen, but I gotta believe if he could find it cheaper.
Oh, no, I wasn't even suggesting that, I'm just wondering how it works. If you call state contract, like I said, you give them your specifications, they give you a number until you go someplace?
No, I've seen that both ways. There's a state list that has a variety of
Vendors?
quantified items with a state price.
But do they have vendors on the list?
Yes, yes, they do.
So that if you're looking for this, they'd say you can go to Bangor. Okay, that's right.
Sure.
Okay.
and the only thing I would add to that is we probably should put verification that we do have proof that that's on state contract here with this, as opposed to that we just went to Bangor's and bought it.
From the state bid list.
You got it.
I will seek that to be added to the file.
Paul, you said also, didn't you, that, was it Lowe's has a lot of stuff on state contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
and Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. That's the last one in the stack this evening. Any other discussion? concerns? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Renner, second, Mr. Wood. Any discussion on that motion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul LeBoy,
Yes.
Gerard Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, we'll stand adjourned at 7:40.